The hospital hallway buzzed with the muted chaos of a typical day, doctors striding purposefully, nurses wheeling carts, and patients shuffling along with quiet determination. Dr. Amelia Sinclair walked briskly toward the operating room, her white coat billowing behind her. It was another day, another surgery, or so she thought. "Dr. Sinclair, your next case is in OR3, her assistant called after her, handing over a chart. "Severe trauma from a car accident." Amelia glanced at the chart, scanning the details: multiple fractures, internal bleeding, and a precarious vital status. Her pace quickened. Saving lives was her calling, and she never hesitated. When she entered the OR, her world tilted. The man on the operating table was Logan Carter. Logan. Her Logan. Her breath caught, memories flooding in unbidden. Summer afternoons spent laughing by the lake, late night drives through winding country roads, and whispered promises to conquer the world together. Their love had been electric, a bond forged in youthful idealism, but it had ended abruptly, shattered by ambition and misunderstandings. "Dr. Sinclair, are you okay?" one of the nurses asked, her voice cutting through the haze. Amelia blinked, forcing herself back into the present. "I'm fine," she said, though her voice was a touch unsteady. She turned to the team. "Let us save him." As the procedure began, her mind wrestled with the past while her hands worked with precision. Logan had always been fearless, adventurous to a fault, and it seemed fate had caught up to him. The damage was extensive, but Amelia's training kicked in. There was no room for error. Yet, beneath her composed exterior, she felt the weight of what lay before her. Logan's life, his future, was quite literally in her hands. Hours later, Amelia stood in the recovery room, watching Logan sleep, his chest rising and falling steadily. The surgery had been a success, but the scars of his injuries and their past remained. Her assistant entered quietly, handing her a cup of coffee. "You really put everything into that one," he said, glancing at Logan. "Do you know him?" She hesitated, then nodded. "I did. Once." He raised an eyebrow but didn't press further, leaving her alone with her thoughts. Amelia approached Logan's bedside, her heart heavy. She wanted to tell him how sorry she was for the way things had ended, how she had chosen her career over their love, how she had convinced herself it was the right thing to do. But would he even want to hear it? As if sensing her presence, Logan stirred, his eyes fluttering open. It took him a moment to focus, but when he saw her, his gaze filled with a mixture of shock and recognition. "Amelia," his voice was hoarse. She nodded, unable to speak. "What are you doing here?" he asked, his brow furrowing. She swallowed hard. "I was your surgeon." His lips parted in surprise, and for a moment, neither of them said anything. "Guess I owe you my life," he said finally, his voice tinged with both gratitude and something else, bitterness. "Perhaps you don't owe me anything," she replied softly. "I'm just glad you're alive." Silence stretched between them, heavy with unspoken words. Finally, Logan broke it. "You disappeared," he said, his tone quiet but laced with hurt. "One day, you were just gone." Amelia's throat tightened. "I thought I was doing the right thing. For both of us. You wanted to stay, to build a life here. I wanted more, I thought I needed more." "And did you find it?" he asked, his eyes searching hers. She looked away, guilt gnawing at her. "I found success. But not happiness." Logan exhaled, leaning back against the pillows. "Life's funny, isn't it? You think you're making the best choice, and then years later, you're lying in a hospital bed, wondering where it all went wrong. Amelia met his gaze, her eyes glistening. I'm sorry, Logan. For everything. He studied her for a long moment, then nodded slowly. Me too. They sat in silence, the past settling between them like a tangible presence. But for the first time, it felt less like a weight and more like a bridge, a connection that, though strained, hadn't been entirely broken. As Amelia left the room, she felt a flicker of something she hadn't in years: hope. She couldn't undo the past, but perhaps, just perhaps, there was a way to move forward. Not just for Logan, but for herself. And as the hospital buzzed with life around her, Amelia vowed to no longer run from the things that mattered most. It wouldn't be easy, but she was ready to try.